Hi everyone and welcome to
Fully
Abroad. Here is yours truly Wole with the beautiful
Dami.
And today's episode is about FAQs, so most frequently asked questions when applying for the UK visa, more specifically UK student visa. Some of you have been sending us some questions and we've decided to put it together and do a whole show around it.
Yep. So UK visa applications have become very popular, and therefore there are quite a lot of questions that come through regarding that. So first question is, how much is the visa fee? Well, this one's pretty straightforward. So the visa fee, based on research on the UKVI website, is £348.
So always go to the www.gov.uk/student-visa and all the information is there. So that's where you should be going. But however, we're going to still break it down for you. And yes, that's the price for anybody applying from outside the UK, i.e. applying from Africa. That's the fee for the visa application.
Yeah, definitely. So we've decided to give it to you in pounds because obviously, depending on exchange rate and, we know how, that things are happening in that sphere at the moment. So,
for instance, for Nigeria, we cannot tell you because the pounds to the naira is changing on a daily.
Constantly.
Same thing. It's Kenya, Uganda. So you cannot be putting you people's currency at fixed, and we need to focus on the home country, on the country that you're heading towards.
Exactly.
Much easier for us.
Exactly.
Sorry for you.
No, you can always do the conversion. There's so many different currency conversion sites and so on, so you can check what that means for you at the moment. But yeah, so visa fee £348 from outside the UK. Okay, coolio. Second question:
the list of documents required. So, of course, you need your CAS. Everybody knows what a CAS is at this point.
Hopefully you do, but we're going to reiterate.
But it will be here somewhere. So the CAS is a document sent to you by the university saying that you fulfill all the academic requirements, including the initial deposit, if some school require that. Mm-hmm. And it will have a breakdown of how much of the fees you have paid, how much of the how much scholarship you probably got, so how much you are left to pay. So it's all that information will be, it's called a CAS statement. It's a series of numbers which you will need for your visa application. Another document you need for your visa application is your TB screening test and your negative TB screening test.
Because if you have TB, you're not going anywhere.
You're not coming to the UK. So some countries require it, not all African countries require it, but most African countries require it, and you have to have it needs to show that it has a 6-month lifespan. So you need to have applied and know that you're coming to the UK prior to that. So prior to your visa application, please have the TB screening results negative.
That's right. Further documents include your bank statement. This one is very important because it needs to show how much you are required to pay in terms of your fees and your living expenses.
As you're saying, if you're studying within London or some big cities, I think within London mainly, your living expenses for the 9 months that your visa is supposed to cover, 9 to 1 year your visa is supposed to cover, your fees are a certain £12,000 upwards. And if you are from outside the UK, like a city like Sheffield or Nottingham, yes, those ones specifically, yes, your living expenses should be £9,203. So those things need to reflect in your account. So you have to have the remainder of your fees plus your living expenses, and the living expenses will cover accommodation, feeding, socializing, everything, subsistence in general.
Yes.
And that's to prove to us that you're not going to go to the UK and suffer, but to show that you will be able to be taking care of yourself and focus on your studies.
Exactly.
So the combination of those two need to be in your account for 28 days untouched. So even if it's an account that you are doing a daily transaction, then your minimum balance should not go below your remainder of your school fees plus your living expenses.
Yes, exactly. And just to give a little bit more information on that, make sure that you do not tamper with that amount for those 28 days that you're going to submit that bank statement for. Okay. Next question. How long should the funds be in my account? So we've kind of already covered that, 28 days, as we've said clearly.
28 days untouched.
Exactly.
So obviously minimum balance and everything should always be your living expenses and the remainder of your fees. Now, of recent, so there's been some development in the UK visa analysis of your financial statements, and unfortunately, they have been calling the banks after you've submitted and to check if you have the amount in your account. And funny enough, if you put in the 28 days and removed all the money right after, it raises a flag, and they might not give you. You might have failed the financial verification of the UK visa application process.
Exactly. So basically, what we're trying to say is to avoid a visa refusal, ensure that when you are submitting an amount for, for consideration, and that amount is exactly what you need for your visa application, please ensure that that amount stays in the account until your processing time is complete, because the visa officer or whoever is handling your visa may make a call to your bank to check if that amount is still there, and if it is not, refusal. All right, so recently we've seen some refusals for this reason, so bear that in mind. All right?
So it's funny because I've also had this issue of recent. Had a student, the UK visa contacted the bank. The contact number on the bank statement could not be reached, and unfortunately the student had a refusal. So just be sure that also you could, when you're printing out the bank statement from the bank, make sure that you ask them this number is reachable no matter what, because this is necessary for the UK visa in case you do a background check. So just have that in mind. I know it's a bit stressful because it's out of your hands, but it does happen.
Yeah. Cool. That's a good addition. All right. Next question, which is also about bank statement. If I pay my tuition, do I need to show this in my bank statement? So no, you don't need to show tuition amount. Obviously, your CAS will show that you have actually made the full payment for your tuition. So that would not be a requirement for you to show in your bank statement. However, your living expenses will still need to be shown, even if you've paid accommodation, deposit, or you've paid your full accommodation for the year. You still need to show that amount in your account, because there's no way to verify that that payment has been made to your caseworker or the visa officer. So please still ensure that the living expenses amount is still available in your account for the 28 days, so that they can make the assessment and hopefully issue you a visa. Okay, so next question.
Do I need to show funds to cover dependents? So ideally, because during your visa application, everything is coming through you, the student, your bank statement, and dependents. Keyword dependent. They're dependent on you. Their funds need to be shown in your bank statement. And what funds should be shown in your bank statement is their living expenses. So even if your living expenses is between 9,000 to 12,000 pounds, I think theirs is each dependent's living expenses about 7,000 pounds upwards.
Yeah.
So you need to show that for each dependent that amount is in your account as well, and should be recorded for the 28 days running.
Yeah. And I know we keep saying the official number of days is 28 days, all right? But as we've said, there's a possibility that when your application is being processed, they might call the bank to check. So bear in mind that whatever the amount you need to provide, keep that amount in the account for until you get a visa decision. That would be the best way.
Ideally, that's the best.
Exactly.
That's the best way to be safe all through.
Yeah.
What you need to avoid when you're making visa application is ambiguity. What I mean by that is that if the UK visa representative reviewing your case has question marks at some point during your application, it might count against you. And question marks on your applications are not good. So if we say, please provide your bank statement, please provide your bank statement, don't provide another person's bank statement. The UK visa would, I know that's one of the questions coming up. It is, what bank statement are we allowed to provide? It's either your bank statement or your parents' bank statement. I know that some of you would say, I've not lived with my parents for over 20 years. I'm a married person. Can I provide my spouse's or partner's bank statement? That will not fly. Or I have an uncle that is sponsoring me and he is a close family friend, or is like my second dad, or what have you. There are so many reasons I've really come across these years. No. Unless he's your legal guardian, and being legal guardian, he has some legal documentation that he is your legal guardian, then you cannot have, apart from that, you cannot have him. Let him put all the money in your account, or whoever is sponsoring you that is not your parents, and even if it's your parents will need to prove that they are your parents, meaning that there's a birth certificate needed to be provided. So try as much as you can to avoid ambiguity and let it be from your account. So if your uncle really truly wants to sponsor you, let him transfer the money into your account. If your husband or wife or other significant
sidekick,
anyways, let the person trust you enough to put the money in your account and let it record there for the 28 days. So avoid any confusion, any question marks on your visa application, because that will attract a refusal.
Yeah. All right, cool. So besides the visa fee, this is the next question, by the way. Besides the visa fee, what other expenses do I need to cover? All right. This one, there are quite a few other expenses. Like I said, please check the UKVI website, because depending on the course that you're studying as well, there might be some other expenses such as ATAS clearance and some other things.
Also, depending which country you're applying from, because some countries have more reduced requirement than others.
So for the UK, we have the NHS surcharge, which is basically like a medical insurance that you need to have that will cover you while you're in the UK, and it comes to about £624 per person. If you have dependents, obviously, if you have another adult depending, then it will be an additional 624. However, if you have children who are also traveling with you, it's about £470 per child. So you need to make sure that you have these amounts covered as well in terms of your expenses.
Yes, because it's really key. So in some countries it's called the NHS, and in some countries it's called the IHS, the Immigration Health Surcharge, and it is necessary. It's as at now, the prices we're giving you is as at now.
Exactly, so it could change.
So please always visit the UKVI website, the UK Gov website, and always verify the information. Or some of you are working, some of you do not do the application directly to UKVI, but there are some agents, like for instance Nigeria and Ghana is TLS. You go through them to make your application, and all the information is detailed on their website. So make sure, for updated knowledge, go to them. Otherwise, you can always email us at fortheabroad@gmail.com, and we'll be more than happy to give you a more updated information with backing up links.
Okay, so the next question: how long is the processing time for a UK visa? So this actually it can vary. Their official length is about 15 days. But this
working days.
15 working days, yes. But this can vary depending on the situations. For example, during COVID, it was a bit longer, because maybe not many people are working at the same time, or there are a few things causing delays and so on. So please give as much time as possible for your visa applications. As we noted in one of our videos, you are now allowed to start applying from about 6 months to the time. So, definitely try to sort out all the necessary bits of information and documentation on time, so that you have more than enough time to get your visa before you have to enroll for your course. Okay, and depending on which country you are, you may be entitled to what is called a priority or a super priority service, whereby it can take a much shorter time, such as 24 hours even. Obviously there are costs attached to this.
As Dami said, those things are actually expensive, so if you can do everything before the time and still get to school on time, by all means try the 15 working days. And we're saying 15 working days, it's usually 15 working days, but there are some cases where it extends. Now if you do the priority, it's supposed to be 7 working days and 5 to 7 working days, and sometimes it still does extend. I've had an experience where my priority ended up being a normal one. It turned to 15 working days and no refund was available, so that's personal experience. And it was an additional 200, and it's about an additional 200 pounds to 250 pounds for priority, so have that in mind. Those of you who are thinking of super priority, which is like a 24-hour to 48 hours, sometimes can extend as well. So I really don't know why it doesn't stay prompt all the time, but sometimes it does have an extension, so that's a caveat you need to be aware of. That one is close to £1,000. So just to avoid having to pay those extra costs.
Yeah, exactly.
And always another thing that would happen, so going back to the requirements, which we forgot to mention, is that once you're called in to do your biometrics, you might have an interview. So it's to find out if the credibility, to find out if you're really going to the UK to study this course, and what was the reason for picking the university. So there's a list of questions that they will be asking you, and you should be bold and confident enough to answer them.
Yes.
And going back to some of the documents that we've not mentioned, a valid passport.
Well, I mean, I want to believe that goes without saying. You're applying for a visa and they need a passport to put the visa in. So please ensure that you have a visa. Sorry.
A valid passport, a valid working passport.
A passport so you can get a visa. Look at me trying to be all matter of fact.
And not a passport picture. A passport. Listen, I've had that conversation. Somebody said, please bring a passport, and they brought a passport picture. And I'm like, well, you can't travel with your picture, although you're a very good looking person.
Yeah, and the passport needs to be valid for at least 6 months,
of your studies.
Of your studies, exactly. So don't bring a passport that is going to expire next month. You're not going to get it.
You're not going to get it.
It's not. It's not a valid document.
Don't even try it.
Exactly. So if you have a passport that's due to expire and you want to apply for your visa, please apply for renewal as quickly as possible, so you can go ahead and apply for your visa and hopefully get your visa. Okay, I think that covers most of the questions that we received. We will try to do another video to cover any more questions that we receive, and please keep those questions coming in. We're happy to respond to the questions that you have, and we look forward to actually receiving them.
And how to contact us?
For the abroad at gmail.com.
Of course, we're there for you. And always, if you are lazy like me to go to the email box and type the whole email, put it in the comments. At least we'll be able to respond to your questions. So feel free to contact us for anything. And we can, if we don't have the responses, we can always direct you to a professional, a seasoned professional ready to assist you with that that little problem you might have there.
Exactly.
So keep the questions coming.
Yes, and make sure the questions are relevant to international education, please. No out of the way questions. All right, thank you very much. All right, so like, share, subscribe, as we always say. Leave a comment, as Wole has already mentioned, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video. Have a good one.